unfold.
You've definitely seen this before, right? In video games, on TV shows, this terrifying fungus that turns people into zombies and just wrecks civilization. Well, that whole story is actually based on a very real and honestly a much weirder organism, Ophiocordyceps unilateralis. So let's peel back the layers of sci-fi horror and get to the biological marvel underneath. Let's find out what's really going on here. And this is the big question, isn't it? The one that might keep you up at night. Could this parasitic puppeteer actually make the jump from a tiny ant on the forest floor all the way to us? Well, to get to the answer, we first have to really, truly understand what it actually does. And that's our mission for this explainer. We're going to dive deep into this bizarre relationship to see exactly where the fiction ends and the mind-blowing scientific reality begins. Okay, so right off the bat, let's just tear down the biggest misconception. That terrifying idea of a fungus worming its way into our brains, controlling our thoughts, pure fiction. The reality, well, it's so much more intricate, and you could argue it's even more disturbing. Because you see, the fungus doesn't need the brain at all.
So, if it's not making zombies, then what on earth is it doing?
Well, the best analogy scientists have come up with is that of a puppeteer. The fungus isn't possessing the ant's mind. Nope, it's hijacking its body and literally pulling the strings itself.
And this is the most crucial, mind-bending part of the whole thing. Despite a massive fungal invasion that takes over the entire body, the ant's brain remains completely untouched. It's totally shielded by this protective barrier the fungus creates. The ant is, for all intents and purposes, a prisoner in its own body. So how does this even work? It's wild. The fungal cells, they form this dense network around the brain, kind of like a cage, but they never actually cross into it. Instead, they snake their way directly into the ant's muscle fibers. They take over the muscles, forcing them to contract, making the ant walk and climb and bite completely against its will. The ant's brain is still sending out commands, but they're being totally overwritten right at the source.
So let's trace this whole thing back. How does this complete hostile takeover even start? It's not a quick process. It's slow, it's methodical, and it is an incredibly efficient invasion.
So it all starts when a single spore just lands on an ant. It doesn't need to be inhaled or eaten. The spore literally drills through the ant's tough outer shell using this cocktail of enzymes. Once it's inside, it goes into full-on stealth mode, circulating as these tiny yeast-like cells that the ant's immune system just doesn't see. And all the while, it's secretly building this massive interconnected network inside the ant, getting everything ready for that final takeover.
And we're not talking about some rapid, movie-style infection that happens in a few hours. This silent invasion takes 9 to 14 days. For almost 2 weeks, the ant looks and acts perfectly normal, all while it's being systematically consumed from the inside out.
Now, this isn't some new evolutionary trick the fungus just figured out. Not at all. This bizarre, creepy relationship between host and parasite is part of an ancient war that has been playing out on the forest floor for tens of millions of years.
The fossil evidence here is just incredible. I mean, scientists have found 48 million-year-old leaves with the exact same bite marks that infected ants make today. This death grip is so ridiculously effective for the fungus that its main strategy hasn't really changed in almost 50 million years. This is a master manipulator that perfected its craft long before our earliest primate ancestors were even a thing. And the level of manipulation is just surgically precise. The fungus forces the ant to climb to a very specific height, about 25 centimeters, where the temperature and humidity are absolutely perfect for the fungus to grow. Then it makes the ant bite down on the underside of a leaf, usually right around solar noon, locking its jaws in that final death grip just before it dies. This isn't random. It's what scientists call an extended phenotype, where the parasite's genes are literally controlling the host's body to build the perfect fungal nursery. But wait, the story has one more incredible twist. It turns out the puppeteer has its own parasite. Yeah, a third player enters the game, a hyperparasite. It's another fungus that actually attacks and eats Ophiocordyceps. It basically castrates the zombie ant fungus, stopping it from releasing its spores, and in doing so, saving the rest of the ant colony. It's this complex, three-tiered ecological war. Okay, so we know how it works in ants. It's terrifying, it's brilliant, but what about us?
Let's get to that central question and look at the massive biological barriers that are standing in the way.
You know, when it comes down to it, it's really all about one crucial thing: temperature. Our single greatest defense against pretty much the entire fungal kingdom is our warm-blooded body. Ophiocordyceps loves it at around 20 to 30 degrees Celsius. Our internal 37 degrees? That's like a constant scorching fever that it just cannot survive. Its proteins would literally fall apart.
And, even if it could somehow survive the heat, it would still face two more gigantic hurdles. First, our incredibly advanced immune system would easily spot and destroy a fungus with a 2-week incubation period. It wouldn't even be a fair fight. And second, the chemical signals the fungus uses to hijack insect muscles are totally incompatible with our neurobiology. The keys it has simply don't fit our locks.
So no, Ophiocordyceps is not going to be turning us into zombies anytime soon. But, and this is a big but, while the method in the horror story is pure fiction, the premise of fungus adapting to overcome its host's defenses, that actually points to a very real and growing threat: the emergence of new fungal pathogens.
And here's the core of the problem, summed up perfectly by immunologist Dr. Arturo Casadevall. He warns that climate change is shrinking the temperature gap between the outside world and our bodies. We are essentially training fungi to withstand higher and higher temperatures, which is eroding our main line of defense.
And if you need proof that this is already happening, look no further than Candida auris. Before 2009, this thing was basically unknown. Then, all of a sudden it appeared on 3 different continents at the same time. And the critical thing is it thrives at human body temperature, and it's very often multi-drug resistant. It is the terrifying proof of concept that our thermal barrier is being breached. Fungi are adapting to our warmer world.
This is what scientists are now calling the Anthropocene effect. Our actions are warming the planet, and by doing that, we're shrinking the thermal safety zone that has protected mammals from fungal diseases for millions of years. We're creating an evolutionary pressure cooker for new, heat-tolerant pathogens to emerge.
Look, the zombie ant fungus is a fascinating, horrifying spectacle of nature. But the real takeaway here isn't about zombies. It's about our own vulnerability. We've all just lived through a devastating viral pandemic. So the final, and I think really urgent question we have to ask is this: are we ready if the next one is a fungus that we've inadvertently trained to survive inside us?